So recently I've been seeing a lot of TikToks and YouTube videos about home renovations. It's been tickling my brain like I've been trying to remember something from my past. Everything seems so familiar until I realized it's because every single week I used to sit down and watch a show called Extreme Makeover Home Edition. I'm sure you guys did too, and in case you didn't, it was a show about this group of people that would go to somebody's house, completely destroy it, and rebuild a better one. Typically, it involved a family that was in need in some way. Oftentimes, you'd see families that couldn't afford the house they were living in. The house they were living in maybe wasn't livable, or they had some member of the family that had some extreme medical condition that inhibited their ability to fully live their life. So this team of people would come through and completely redo their home to suit their needs better. Extreme Makeover Home Edition was hosted by a guy named Ty Pennington. I remember watching this dude when I was a kid and being like,
okay, I see what you mean, Mom. I'll lay off the sugar.
Because he was like always so wired. But this energy fit the show. I mean, I mentioned that they would destroy these families' homes before building new ones, and they would do it by taking giant construction equipment and completely demolishing their home, typically right in front of the family. I say right in front of the family. How the show worked was essentially they would do all of this within a 1 week period. So they would send the family on a vacation, and then Ty would video call them and be like, hey, how's vacation? By the way, check this out, and destroy their current living situation. And they just have to sit there and be like, this will be taken care of in a week. And I mean, who doesn't want a house built in a week, right? That is foreshadowing for later in the video, but let's take a look right now at some of these amazing houses they built.
The minute you walk inside, it's a couple of walls that look like they used to be a house, but you can't have your kids live in that.
And we're on our way to meet the biggest family we've ever helped. 15 people here. Wow. Oh my God.
So as you can see, this Jackson family is this super large family who sent in a video to the show to have their home completely redone.
Hi, my name is Keith, I'm 16. Hi, my name is Diaz, I'm 16.
Hi, my name is Joe, and I just wanted to feel included. So anyway, you can see that the Jackson family is in need of a new home. Their current living situation isn't great, and for 10 kids, I mean, they're gonna need something bigger. So enter Ty and the gang in their trailer that they always pull up in.
Wow.
And he always starts every single episode with this.
Good morning, Jackson family! Keith, Taisha, Deontay!
I know that this is done with the magic of TV. They were told beforehand or have someone inside telling them that they're outside, but I always thought it would be so funny if Ty is outside of this random building. He's like, good morning, da, 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 da. And they're like either not in the building or just don't hear him, so the camera is just like holding on the door and he's just like, I did coke for this? Anyway, I'll save you like 30 minutes. They destroy the home. They gather the community to completely rebuild a new home in 7 days. And then they reveal the home to them. And it's always like super sweet and you feel good inside. I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to live in a home like that? That would go for like $1 million today, if you ignore that it was built in a week. I'm sure there are plenty of problems. Anyway, as you can imagine, the interior is absolutely beautiful, and they redo the kids' rooms typically to like the style of whatever thing they're into. Here's another video where the son just said they liked football. And here's another one of a dude who said he liked flying, I think.
So Luke, are you ready for liftoff, my brother?
I am.
It's all airplane, man.
Awesome.
I remember being a kid and thinking like, damn, that is so cool. I wish Ty Pennington would completely pimp my ride. And by pimp my ride, I meant like just make my room plane or football theme. But I also can't help but imagine like the last dude with the airplane room, he was 15. Imagine he like has a crush at school and he like brings a girl home. He's like, this is where the magic happens, babe. And she just has to be like, wow, sick. Anyway, there's a lot of really cool things that they did with this show. There is absolutely no question that this became a trend. The biggest creator on YouTube, Mr. Beast, definitely took inspiration. I mean, he was giving money to homeless people. Now he does so many things with anthropology. A lot of that is inspired from situations like this. The candid shots that he has of people getting so surprised when they win a car were directly inspired by Ty Pennington telling them to move that bus homeless? And then they're like crying and stuff. That's why the first shot is not the house, it's always the family's reaction to the house. And you couldn't help but watch this show as a family when you were younger, and just everybody felt good. They have a cool new house that typically meets their needs better, and you're just like, this is great TV. Or was it? Like many reality TV shows, it's not so much in reality. Now, they did give these people new homes, and they did build them in 7 days. But I recently came across an article that explained that the family still had to pay mortgages on these new homes from the moment these people left. And for a lot of people, when their home got refinanced, it's very obviously a much bigger and better home, so they couldn't afford their mortgages. And even if they could afford the mortgages, things like utilities costed significantly more. I mean, you saw the kid got like a whole gaming station with 3 different TVs. There were many cases where these families couldn't afford these new bills, and the show didn't really help them cover anything. Now, of course, they've come out and said when all this was going on that they do their best to try and make the house as affordable as possible for the family. But like, what are you supposed to do about utilities? You literally can't negotiate that. That's just like, hey, this house uses an obscene amount of electricity because it's no longer a shed. And as I continued reading, I found out that a lot of these houses ended up becoming foreclosure homes. The show apparently used like tax loopholes to get around certain costs of like building the homes. And as you can imagine, a house built in 7 days is not that sturdy all of the time. I mean, they have to rush a lot of the process, and most of the people working on it are either companies that volunteer or huge groups that volunteer and have no experience doing what they're doing. Not only are they cutting financial corners, but they're cutting literal corners where they shouldn't be in building these new homes. In this article, they cite people from Reddit that actually worked on these homes, and they're like, it wasn't that good. I wouldn't trust the house itself. I wouldn't live there. It also goes on to talk about how like the added publicity not only added to crime for that house. I mean, you're broadcasting the location and family that lives in this house, giving burglars a pretty good idea of exactly what's inside. I also did some research and found out that on HGTV shows, they don't always get to keep the furniture that's inside of these houses. It's put there to make the houses look good. And I assume this is for things like Property Brothers or Love It or List It, things like that. Homes where they went to go and try and rent these spaces. Oftentimes they put furniture in there just so you can see kind of what the space is going to look like when you've furnished it. But I got it when I researched whether they get to keep everything in the series, so I imagine that some of the really cool things we saw on TV, they didn't even actually get to keep. Not to mention the people on the show were not always honest. I mean, come on. I wanted Ty to come to my house, but nobody in my family had some crazy terminal illness or affliction. We got by. But there were other families that lied to get on the show. In season 6 of Extreme Makeover Home Edition, pretty long into the process of this show's creation, it has like 25 episodes per season, the Serta family applied talking about this incredible autoimmune disorder that their 2 daughters have that makes it to where these kids can't go to school, they have to be homeschooled, they can't live a normal life. And as you can imagine, they give them this incredible new home equipped with the state-of-the-art HEPA filter so that they no longer have to wear masks when they're inside their own home. They give them a pool. I think it's like on the official channel for the people that donated the pool. They're like, we partnered and we're giving the Serta family a pool. Anyway, they got this super awesome package and they tugged the heartstrings of the nation, except it was probably all faked. Upon further research, there was actually an ongoing lawsuit with the family as medical practitioners, as they moved, found out that their diagnosis seemed to only come from their mom. Anytime they were seen by a professional, the girl seemed entirely fine. At one point, the daughters even went to go stay with their grandpa for a long period of time, citing medical abuse. There were other cases where people would lie to get on the show to get this extreme makeover, when in reality they didn't actually need it. Or in the case of Debbie Oatman, who had adopted 3 kids, it was found out that these 3 adopted kids who also had HIV and other disorders were getting further bullied at school because of the privacy issues regarding the show, and that the mom actually was abusive. The article goes on to cite that between 1997 and 2007, she had had 18 incident reports regarding abuse. There was another case where there were these 5 orphans who had lost their parents to, I believe it was like heart issues. This family had taken them in, but when the camera stopped rolling, they kicked them out, and they tried to pursue legal action against the show to try and get some form of a home, and it seems that went nowhere. And the show, oftentimes, whether it was cases of homelessness, being kicked out after being used for the cameras, or just things in the house being shoddy workmanship, oftentimes just was like, sorry, there's nothing we can do. We gave you a house. It feels like you're asking too much of us. Even though the whole point of the show is to try and make the lives better of the people that we are filming. And that's really what it breaks down to. I think the reason this show went off the air was not because of all of these things, but rather because it became a little bit evident that the show was looking for the craziest scenarios they could to film these families, tug at your heartstrings, and get that reaction that made us keep watching. I believe Mr. Beast has faced a lot of the same criticisms, that yes, they are doing a lot of good things, but it feels like they're using the people that need these good things for content and views. Now, that being said, I am a firm believer in, hey, a good thing was done at the end of the day, and as long as they consented to it, that's a good thing at the end of the day. It's all well and good. Mr. Beast, keep curing people of blindness and stuff. Do cancer next. But I also found out that the show itself was aware of this and put out casting calls type thing for people that had some rare illnesses to reach out so that they could film. And I feel like that's a little less charitable. If you go putting out a call being like, hey, anybody with special needs in their family need a new home, versus just the application process, or better yet, I always liked when a family was volunteered, it feels a little less genuine and a lot more like, okay, we're tooting our own horn here and we're using people for their problems to get good television. A show that definitely borrows from this concept in the modern time is Queer Eye. On Queer Eye, people get actually recommended by the community for this group of men who are all fine as hell to come in and completely redo their life. Now, it's not a whole new home. They dodge the bulldozers and the move that bus, the megaphone and the coke and the tie or whatever. I almost said Ty Lopez.
Here in my garage.
But rather, they actually sit down with these people and they have one of the guys counsel them on maybe some of the issues that are plaguing their personal life. They have somebody who comes in and teaches them how to cook. If maybe they're not eating healthy, how to eat healthier. They go through their life, give them a fashion makeover, try and make their life meaningfully better in a way that they can maintain, in a way that is genuine, and in a way that dodges all of these crazy lawsuits of people getting kicked out or faking illnesses. I feel way better watching a show like that because it feels genuine. It feels more intimate. Yeah, of course I click because these are people in need, but I'm not sitting there going, oh, what person in need needs a new fucking house today? I hope they do a race car bed. Damn. But it's genuinely a good show where they find people in need recommended by their community and they make their life meaningfully better. So yeah, maybe you tuned into this video for me to like react to some of the coolest things. Whoa, that's so sick. Do you see that? Wow, I wish I had that. And there, you got that. But I also wanted to just talk about this show as a concept and maybe why it failed and maybe why it shouldn't have existed in the first place. I don't know. They did a lot of good things. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm gonna get out of here. This show is a fever dream. I just got invited by Ty to go do some coke and chug some Red Bull, so I'm out.